Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the Santa Rita Union School District Board meeting. I'd like to call this meeting to order at 5:04. If we can please start off with roll call.
Miss Cindy Lopez. Here. Mr. Neil Patel.
Aye, Captain.
Ms. Sarah Turner.
Here.
Ms. Alvariano.
Here.
Mr. Jacob Sandoval.
Here.
All members present.
Okay, please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Ready, begin.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, item 1.3 is approval of the board agenda. Can I please get a motion to approve the board agenda?
Motion to approve. Second.
Okay, roll call, please.
Ms. Lopez.
Aye.
Mr. Patel.
Aye, Captain.
Ms. Turner.
Aye.
Ms. Ariano.
Aye.
Mr. Sandoval.
Aye.
Motion passes 5-0.
Okay, today on the closed session items, we have item 2.1, public employee appointment /employment under Government Code Section 54957. We have 2.2, potential litigation under Government Code Section 54956.8 and 54956.9. We have item 2.3, public employee performance evaluation under Government Code Section 54957. 2.4 is conference with labor negotiators under Government Code Section 54957.6. Do we have any public comments regarding closed session items?
We do not.
Okay, can I get a motion to adjourn to closed session, please?
Motion to adjourn to close session. Second.
Ms. Lopez.
Aye.
Mr. Patel.
Aye, Captain.
Ms. Turner.
Aye.
Ms. Ariano.
Aye.
Mr. Sandoval.
Aye.
Motion passes 5-0.
Okay, we'll see everybody afterwards.
And
Oh, okay. Oh, I don't have an intro. Hey, good afternoon, everybody. Welcome back to the Santa Rita Union School District Board meeting. We're going to reconvene back into open session. During closed session, the board approved a request for unpaid leave of absence for employee number 160397. The vote was 5-0 to approve. Okay, moving on to item 5.1, approval of consent agenda. This will be for items 5.2 to 5.4. Can I please get a motion to approve?
I make a motion to approve.
Second.
Okay, roll call, please.
Ms. Turner. Aye. Ms. Ariano.
Aye.
Mr. Sandoval.
Aye.
Mrs. Lopez and Mr. Patel are not present for this open session. Motion passes 3-0.
Okay, thank you. Moving on to 6.1. Do we have any comments from SRTA?
No, we do not.
Okay. CSEA 6.2.
No, nothing from CSC
Okay.
either.
And then 6.3, Gavilan View Middle School Spotlight.
Thank you. I'm actually going to be doing the spotlight, or I should say highlight, for our Gavilan View Middle School. This board and I would like to give a certificate of appreciation to our Gavilan View and Elementary School Athletic Director, Jacob Flores. So this certificate of appreciation is for us to express our sincerest appreciation and gratitude for your exceptional efforts, unwavering commitment, and remarkable impact. Your dedication and hard work have greatly contributed to the success and growth of our student athletes. With that said, I want to highlight that we were reached out to by the athletic director for the Salinas Union High School District, who pointed out that Mr. Flores always acts with the utmost integrity as an athletic director for our student athletes, always exhibiting sportsmanship for his students as well as other students, focusing on not just athletic ability, but high academic standards for his students, and making hard decisions unwaveringly, even in the face of disappointment or any of those other aspects that might sway someone of a lesser conviction. So Mr. Flores has been in this district for 10 years and leading our student athletes, not just during competition, physical education classes, but during summer academy. He's taught things like, sportsmanship for students, even our younger students, getting them in learning those basic standards before they move on to the high school district and further with their academic and athletic career. So for that unwavering integrity and dedication to not just Gavilan View students, but all of Santa Rita's student athletes and those aspiring athletes, we want to give this certificate of appreciation to Mr. Jacob Flores.
Congratulations. Thank you. Thank you. Does it have a little green light? No.
Thank you very much for the recognition. I'm usually a fly under the radar kind of guy. We were talking about that, but looks like I've been caught. So here we are. So like mentioned, I've been here for 10 years now. I got here and it's been a perfect fit for me. I grew up right down the road in this community. So I've been able to call this, home for a long time now. I love middle school sports and I love PE and health and all of those things. Sign me up, right? Anything that I can get into with that, sign me up. But specifically with our sports programs, and education-based athletics, kind of like you've mentioned, just trying to help these kids, especially with access. I kind of tried to build a culture of our program through the Positive Coaching Alliance. So, trying to get kids again involved with sports and stick to them, so that it's not just a 1-year thing and then they're done, because there's so many life lessons that can be taught through competitive sports, right? And it's not just about the winning portion, but it is the delivery of those life lessons that we can influence them with, and that's really what we're trying to do. And I have to say thank you, Paz, and thank you to first of all, the district office has been super supportive of me and in my endeavor of sports in the 10 years that I've been here. My site admin, Miss Antuna, I've loved working with Miss Antuna and the support that I've been getting from her, and now Miss Coronel this year. But also all of my coaches, right? I can't do it without all my coaches. I don't coach all of our 21 sports on campus myself, right? So I absolutely need them and for them to buy in and see the same vision for the culture that I have. So thank you to all my coaches. And then lastly, to my wife, my loving wife, she knows that this is part of my purpose, and those late nights that I'm here at basketball games and stuff like that. And, she gets it, and she's behind me on that. So I can't say it enough to her that I appreciate that. And to my kids too, right? Sometimes I'm not there and they wonder, but they know it's for a purpose. Going back though, I'm not just here at GV. We recognize that these life lessons could be taught earlier than in 6th grade when they get to us or to get to GV. So when I met with Superintendent Alderman, this was 5 years ago before Superintendent Alderman, right? And we decided, we can move forward with implementing some more official after-school sports at the elementary schools and starting them in 4th and 5th grade. We're already seeing that, right? How that impacts them once they get to us in 6th grade, 7th grade, 8th grade, because they've got 2 years of learning, hard work, learning, responsibility, dedication, caring, all our 6 pillars of character and so on. So that's been some work that I've been really proud of, as well as to start those elementary school sports. And it is quite a joy for me to watch and see the kids grow. And then when they come to us as a familiar face, they know me, I know them, and we already have those connections. And we know when the kids are connected to their schools, they're going to do better in school, right? And that's kind of, what we're all about. But lastly, the other thing I wanted to mention tonight and hasn't been officially announced yet, this year I've started work with, again, with the blessing of Superintendent Alderman and Assistant Superintendent Moore, the Blue Zones Project. So I left some papers on your desks. What is the Blue Zones Project, right? I left you some literature. I'm going to read this because their words are much better than mine at this. So they're blurb from their website. It says, imagine a great day of learning in your school. Students and teachers are engaged, active, and excited about what they're doing. They refuel in healthy ways to keep their energy high. Imagine this great day happening every day. There's a movement to make it easier in your community. Blue Zones Project by Share Care is now at work in your community, linking people, places, and policy to make healthy choices, easy choices. You may have heard about the original Blue Zones, places where people live longer with a higher quality of life and lower rates of disease. Blue Zones leverages findings about these places and other well-being research to create new Blue Zones communities across North America. And that's what once I've connected to them, I'm trying to turn our community into a space and environment where we can improve the health of our students, our families, our staff, everybody, because again, at the moment, we look at why our students are struggling. And one of those reasons is going to be they are not optimized for learning when they get to us for several reasons. And I think this is a big part of that. So we've had a few things happen so far this year. Brenda from Blue Zones, shout out to Brenda from Blue Zones. Thank you for everything you've done so far. But just a couple of things that we've done so far with the Blue Zones Project. They've come in, they've rejuvenated our science garden, provided a bunch of vegetable seeds. So we've got those planted. Just this last week, I believe they dropped off compost for the garden. A bunch of compost for the garden. So we got our science garden up and running better than ever. Brenda's come in, they've walked through the kitchen and works closely with our kitchen staff. We have a lot of signage up that, a little bit more information about nutrition as students come in and get their food. We have a parent walking group on Thursday mornings during first period. So I'm usually out there with Miss Antuna, Miss Coronel, and anybody else who's invited. And here's your plug. Come and walk with us Thursday mornings out on the track. I know it's getting cold, so bring a jacket. But we've had groups of, up to 14. Just parents, we walk, at least a mile and a half Thursday mornings. We just talk, about the holidays, plans for vacation, our students, and what's going on in the community. It's been enjoyable to connect with parents that way as well. And then lastly, with that, again, we are working towards approval to being a Blue Zone certified approved school. You have to hit a certain amount of points to be certified as a Blue Zone school. So pending that approval, we will be the first middle school or high school in Salinas with Blue Zone's approval. So
Wow.
I don't know when that is going to happen, but I'm going to do everything I can to make sure that does happen. And so that's the last thing I wanted to introduce, and something else I'm real proud of. So thank you so much again for everything. And that's all I got.
No, I just want to say thank you for being part of our district and also sharing a lot of that information, and just keep us posted on the Blue Zone, because that definitely would be a good model for other middle school as well to kind of understand better as well. And at what time do you guys go walking Thursday mornings?
I know, that's what I was gonna ask.
So every Thursday, first period starts at 8:15. So we kind of gather up around 8:15 and then go to just about 9 o'clock on those Thursday mornings.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
I just want to say how much we appreciate you. I know my grandson came to Gavilan View, and Manuel thinks the world of you. And even up to now, he occasionally mentions you with, talking about Gavilan View. He always brings up your name. So I just want to thank you for being a good role model for all of these kids. And what you're doing is fantastic. And I just may join you at 8:15 on Thursdays. So thank you.
Thank you so much for all you do. And as you know, eventually the new gym is coming. So I'm very excited. So eventually we're going to get there.
Can we take a quick picture as well? Yeah. Yeah. Let's see a quick picture also with the principal. Yeah.
Oh, yes.
You take it. I'll do this.
And look, I'm wearing Gavilan.
Oh, there you go.
Oh, you're wearing the right shirt.
Yes, right.
A little closer. All right. Thank you. 1, 2, 3. Perfect. All right.
Good job.
Okay. Have a nice evening.
Thank you, guys.
Okay. Moving on to 6.4, Superintendent's Cabinet. Start off with Director of MOTF, Mr. Victor Sandoval.
Well, good evening, everybody. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, good. I just want to thank you for the support that you've been giving my department. And I also want to give out a big shout out to Rosa's team for finding some funding for some buses that we desperately need for the special ed program. And of course, along with that, I want a big shout out to Becky's team, which hopefully we can get some drivers for those new buses. So that's all I have for tonight. And I've got a little update later on today.
Okay, thank you. Miss Melanie Granny, Director of Special Ed Incidents. Sorry.
It's a long title. It's okay. No problem. Here, let me switch the sides. Perfect. Well, I was able to pull all of our special education providers today, teachers, OTs, school psychs, SLPs, the whole team, really honing in on that progress monitoring and keeping data, right? So student has a goal, and then how are we monitoring and keeping data really clean? So we spent a majority of our time. We also celebrated our school psychologists because this is School Psychologist Week. So we celebrated them, got to give them a little token of our appreciation for just all the hard work that our school psychologists do. Actually, right after the board meeting, I'm going to set up in here for our 3Fs legal symposium tomorrow morning. We're going to pull our special education SPED admin, our teacher leaders, and all of our school psychologists tomorrow and attend to this legal symposium that happens twice a year. And they just really give legal special education updates. They do a lot of case studies. It's a really good training. So I'm looking forward to that. I'm sharing a lot of training. We're going to do one more safety care training before winter break. We're going to open it up to select gen ed teachers as well as any of our new paraprofessionals and behavior aides that we've hired between September and now. So looking forward to just getting everybody trained. And then last but not least, we are in 1 week, Dr. Susan Barrett's going to come and she's going to present on multi-tiered systems of support and our interconnected systems. And we're going to have our leadership teams. So school admin, the site's leadership teams are going to be able to attend. School psychologists, counselors were also invited. So really excited about that. So that's it for me. Any questions?
When did you say the last one was?
It's the MTSS, so multi-tiered systems of support training, where we're really honing in on connecting systems. And it's with Dr. Susan Barrett. Okay. It's on November 16th if you'd like to attend. It's in the morning.
All right. Thank you. Any questions or comments from the board? Okay. Thank you for the update.
Absolutely.
Assistant Superintendent of Human Resource, Ms. Becky Moore.
Thank you. As you are aware, we have opened up our open enrollment for McSig. And so our HR team is visiting school sites during staff lunch periods this week and next, so that if people have questions, want to turn in forms, we're easily accessible to them. This morning, Melissa, Melanie, and I attended the School Climate Data Use Peer Network with West Ed for our first official session. It was really nice to collaborate with other school districts in how we're using data with our engaging stakeholders to make our educational decisions. They introduced 2 different practices for having us work together and collaborate. So that was really neat. Yesterday, we had our community of practice with People Bench for our most recent survey data. And so I'll be excited to share what that looks like with all of you now that we've had a minute to unpack it. And beginning to start thinking about now what our next action steps will be in response to that data to helping with our staff well-being and morale. And tomorrow I have negotiations with CSEA and looking forward to collaborating with our partners there.
Great, thank you. Any questions or comments from the board? Okay, thank you for the update. Moving on to the board and the superintendent, start off with Ms. Sarah Turner.
I don't have anything to report this evening.
Okay, Ms. Alvariano.
Same here. Nothing to report.
Okay, and the only thing for myself is just I attended a meeting to work on potentially doing a project labor agreement and just kind of moving that process along. And that's all I have to report. Dr. Alderman.
Thank you. I don't have a lot to report. And as we're heading into closing out a short week with the Friday off, we've had a lot of busy things. I want to point out Becky and our academic coaches, as well as several of our site leaders, have been working on refining our PD day for the 17th for our district PD day. And we'll spend some time in the morning with grade level teams being able to meet across the district. And then some site time for prep and planning back in classrooms and getting that put together. So focusing on a couple of instructional strategies and being able to share out like best practices with others and things like that. And just it's a tough time of the year, but it's a good time to just like re-engage in something that you do or you want to share or talk about how you've done, and giving space for our grade level teams to meet. We haven't been able to do that with, the impacts of COVID and everything's for a couple of years now. And so everyone kind of felt like now would be a good time to do it. So each of our site is hosting a different grade level John Gutierrez Middle School has offered to host Gavilan View Middle School, so we'll do that. And Chuck and his team will help us with getting breakfast delivered to everybody at their respective sites, so we can make it a nice, engaging morning, and then people can have that afternoon to sort of get things set before they head off for their Thanksgiving holiday break. And they've been working really hard on that. And I just wanted to highlight our academic coaches and site administrators. And it was really fun because a couple of them have been academic coaches. And so they were like ready to start helping plan. And that was fun. And our other big thing that we have is summers out with some of our couple administrators, some of our restorative practice leads at our other sites visiting our partner school down in San Diego, getting to see the restorative practices and also some of the PLC plus practices that they have in place. And today was their first full visit. She reported that all was well. And on her behalf and for the district, we've finished our first round of Saturday Academy. And I want to give a big thank you for our teachers as well as our staff who gave up that time on Saturdays to give that time and their energy and knowledge to our students, as well as to thank Tina Ramos for being our principal for our very first Saturday Academy, and Summer for really going the distance and getting all of those pieces put in place for our students.
Okay, thank you for the update. And I'm very thankful for that Summer Academy. I've been hearing a lot of positive feedback. So yeah, any questions or comments from the board? Okay, thank you for the update. Moving on to item 7.1, is there any public comment regarding non-agenda items, and 7.2 regarding agenda items?
There is no public comment.
Okay, thank you. Moving on to 8.1, informational regarding John Gutierrez Middle School, the paving project.
Thank you. That's my item. So as we know that JGMS had the asphalt replaced over the summer, there is some discrepancies in the quality of work. And I just want to reassure you that under the new guidance of our superintendent and myself, we're not really accepting, sub quality work. I do want to also mention that, because we have contracts with these contractors, we do have the right to ask and do that, and suggest that, hey, it doesn't meet my qualifications. There's our standards that need to be met. In addition to that, we have had a meeting prior to opening JGMS for the year. However, it was substandard. It was identified, it was notified, and as per the contract, we have to give them the option for a cure or, a resolution to whatever we're looking at. The biggest thing is that we can't tell them how to fix it. It's, called means and methods. We can't really direct them, but they can come up with, strategic solutions, and we accept it. And if it doesn't work, guess what? It doesn't work. And unfortunately, on the first solution that they offered was a sand slurry. Unfortunately, after seasoning, it's expansion and contraction, and you're talking about an asphalt that is a living organism. I don't know if you really noticed it, but when you go into the Bay Area, like San Jose, you see little ruts in every stop sign. Why? Because when it gets so hot, the living organism actually kind of melts a little bit more, and then it molds to whatever it is. In this case, we're a little cold right now, but in this case, their solutions, which I met with them again on last Friday. They're proposing a couple of different solutions, and I'm going to talk about those. I know this is kind of lengthy and it's probably boring, but it's like my number one subject. I love this. So they suggested a couple of solutions. One meaning we pointed out the cold joints between asphalt and asphalt when they're actually paving the areas. There's always going to be a sort of a cold joint. However, in our contract documents, we have the 1010s. It's a CSI format. It's 16 divisions for everything in construction. And the number 3 and number 4 actually touches on the concrete. And in that section, it refers to the asphalt institution. And the asphalt institution actually writes all the specifications of what the standards are for asphalt paving, right? So when we talked to them, they said, hey, what are the tolerances? So we bring out, our little Bible, which, it's a contract document. And we tell them, hey, these are the guidelines. These are the acceptable, tolerances. Unfortunately, they don't meet that. So just a little history on the Asphalt Institute. It was actually formed in 2019, and I can remember that because that's when my grandmother was born. So I just know 1919, not 2019. She'd be really young by now, right? But anyways, for the past 70 years, architects, designers have always used those tolerances, those standards, because everybody says that's industry standard. Well, guess what? There's no such thing as an industry standard. The industry standard doesn't exist, even though everybody says, okay, that's an industry standard. I think what they're actually referring to is what's acceptable by the common non-trained eye. Unfortunately, with me, when they first did it, I said, we're opening up school. We can't delay school. What's your first solution? So they wanted to do a sand slurry. So unfortunately, after seasoning, and this is what we call after time, there's a lot of bird baths, and the other one was the cold joints. So that was identified. And so what they want to do is for the bird baths, they want to do a leveling course, which is a self-leveling. It's a new material that they're putting out. And then if they can level that in order to bridge the joints, because you can see where the joints are at and you don't have any fines. So asphalt paving, it's based on rock, sand, and a bitmulsion, right? So it's the glue that holds the sand and holds the rock. And that makes the combination of all the asphalt. And at a certain temperature, it gets cooked. And I guess what I could refer to in Spanish is chapopote, right? The chapopote is the one that binds everything together. So with that, we said, that's fine. You got to do what you have to do, but it's not up to standard right now. However, and I do completely understand because I do come from a heavy civil background. Now, they mentioned, number one, it's too cold. You can't pave during the cold and have a good job. You can do slurry seal. You can do sand slurry, double sand slurry. You can do a chip seal, which a chip seal is what they're doing right now throughout Salinas. So that is kind of a Band-Aid. It's not really a fix. It's a Band-Aid that actually covers up your little dips and your voids and your fissured areas. So there is a lot of solutions. It's just that we cannot tell them, hey, this is what I want you to do. Because if it doesn't work, guess what? Then they're going to say, hey, you district told me to do this. Now, if it doesn't work. So in our contract documents, it holds them liable for that. So the 1010s out of the divisions of 16, the 1010s, that's what we call the front ends. The front ends actually have the contracts, which means in that contract, they have to abide by public contract code. Number one, they have to give us a full year warranty, right? Number two, they have to provide us with a performance bond and a payment bond, meaning performance bond, you're liable for anything that is, actually subcategory, right? Your work is no good. Then you have the specifications, which follows right after that, where we have identified the Asphalt Institute out of Kentucky. So there's one in I think it's in Texas, and there's one in Kentucky. So ours is in Kentucky. It's a little bit more stringent, and it deals with the cold weather too. So we have to, by contract, give them the opportunity to fix the deficiencies. However, there's going to become a time if it doesn't get fixed. Number one, we're not satisfied, and that's when we get our legal counsel involved, where either they rip it all the way out or they completely try to do something different. But with the proposed solutions that they have as a self-living, I've never dealt with it. I'm new to that one, even though I've been doing a lot of civil work throughout my career. I don't know what that is. I've done self-leveling inside interior of buildings, but if it adheres to the asphalt, then it would work. But that kind of leads to, like a domino effect. When you do that, then you have a patch. Then that means that in order to address the cold joints, a double slurry seal or a Caltrans slurry would do that. So we would have to, over the summer, go in there, take care of these, what we call bird bath in construction. Take care of the bird baths first, and then have to reslurry and restripe everything again. So that is kind of a synopsis of what we talked about on the Friday. And basically that's kind of like an update of what I have right at this moment. So if you have any questions.
Yeah, so I have a few questions. One, I'd kind of want legal to look at it now, because my question would be, how does our timeline work on our warranty? So for example, they give us a year warranty from the date we're satisfied, or how does that 1 year warranty begin? Right.
So that 1 year warranty is when we file completion. Right now, I still owe a payment of $45,000, which is their last payment. When we close out the project, then they get a retention. And that is when we completely accept the job. So that warranty period right now is null and void. But it could, when we talk to legal counsel, do we still have to pay them? I think so, because I've never had to really get into it with a civil contractor, solely because they understand that I understand. So there's no cutting corners, right?
Sure.
And in this case, simple fact is, they didn't have enough equipment, not enough staff, not enough, everything, everybody was going pretty much at 110%, right? Every contractor was busy, and we couldn't even get somebody. And, getting asphalt, running the plant late, it was kind of a crucial. And the plant was, a very reputable plant. So I don't think that was the case, that it was
I
bad
guess my
material.
question is still kind of, so for example, they finished this past summer, right? They did the striping, right? First, I guess, okay, so when's the final payment due? The 45,000, right? Because they can't do anything till the summer either way, right?
That's true.
So when is the final payment due for you?
That's something I'm going to talk to legal counsel about, because, basically this could go into a claims under their performance bond.
Yeah.
So the performance bond is the surety that actually gives them all the coverage umbrella, right? We've already sent them the first notice. All we need to do is start saying, hey, if you guys can't fix this, this is what's going to happen. I have a year within, you have to fix it up to standards. We could ask for another year of warranty. We can do almost anything. Basically, contractors don't really want to redo their work. If they can find a solution, they're going to try to do it.
Yeah. So
Because
I guess let me kind of, so first, I guess, because they finished this summer, right? But they can't work on it till the summer again. So we're almost going to be a year out.
that's right.
Right. So what I would want, and you can answer it today because we're going to need a legal update, is how does that work? And then I know you had mentioned that we can't tell them the solutions. I don't want to hear that from legal, just to make sure, right?
Yeah.
Because my concern is, let's say that new thing that they're thinking of doing it works for a year, but doesn't work past 2 years or 3 years, right? Because if it's a patch, right? Because they're just gonna do that, and they're gonna try to level it and try to put a double sealer or whatever. You kind of mentioned that, but that's still not the same as
Perfect.
doing it. Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah.
We want perfect.
Yeah. So
Right?
that's not the same as perfect. So my concern is if they leave it and on the surface it looks good, but our usefulness life of it, right? Because of
So-
the work that it is now 2 years instead of it being 10 years or something other. So I guess what I'm wanting to find out is if that's from legal, right? Is like have them redo the contract is like, can we say no, you're gonna redo it? We're not gonna accept that because unless you're gonna give us a warranty for 8 years,
Right.
or something a lot longer to know. Because I guess my concern there is you accept the work, we look at it, it looks good, but 2 years down the line, it's a new material. They're starting to find out that there's cracks with stuff going on. And now
There-
we spent a lot of money on that. And yeah,
There's also some safeguards that we've done preemptively. And-
Is that where the performance and the standards bonds come into play for the 4 years?
Well,
The insurance-
errors and emissions, that kind of goes into the design criteria. It doesn't hit the contractor because basically the design criteria is what we put out. This is how it's supposed to be. It didn't end up how it's supposed to be. So right now they're on the hook, and it could be they're on the hook for 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years. And because they can't resolve it or solve it within
Yeah.
a week or so,
Yeah.
we're going to have to wait until probably May in order to get warmer weather. However, like I was saying, there's safeguards that I've already taken kind of preemptively, because basically in every construction project, you should be doing this, not going overboard. But so I can guarantee you right now with the tests that we did and nuclear tests on the compaction of the base rock. So that'll make me reassured that it's not going to sink anymore, right? It's not going to have a soft spot. It's not going to have a puddle. It's not going to have any aquifer going underneath. That has been done. So before I sent them the first letter, I did a density test over and above, again, just to reassure myself, a density test on the asphalt. So the asphalt's solid. It's compacted to the 95% that is written in our contract documents. So with all of that, I feel pretty reassured that other than one of the things that I really hate is having them rip it out, patch it, because a patch is a patch.
yes.
And in asphalt, and it being a previous, I've worked in asphalt before and civil, underground and all that stuff. A patch is a patch. It doesn't look good on on a brand new project, right? You can do a Caltrans slurry or a chip seal. It'll patch it for 4 years. But again, in the standards of asphalt, we should be resealing and striping our asphalt areas. Why? Because asphalt is actually a living organism that changes and it gets cured. That's an acronym. I mean, it gets cured or seasoned, the cold, the hot, the rain. It gets seasoned different. So you start seeing differences in the asphalt. For example, the old asphalt right next to the brand new asphalt that we did is got a little of the rock already exposed. That means that in asphalt standards, you should be resealing almost every 4 to 5 years. So unfortunately, I do have that in the master plan. It just hasn't come to fruition. I mean, we're trying to get like space of, for the kids, the new classrooms and all that stuff. That's another battle, by the way. But anyways, like I said, in my experience, I mean, we all lived, painted black and never looked back. Well, you got to paint it black, but you got to do it right.
Yeah.
And in this case, it wasn't.
Yeah.
So we caught it at the very beginning. We've had another meeting. It's all documented. I will be asking, our council, like, how can we get an extended warranty period for all of this work? We're dealing with Thomason as a general contractor. We're dealing with, his subcontractor. And neither of them want to retire or, go broke on one project, right? So, and we want them, to always come because they have done a lot of work with us. They've done work with me in Watsonville. They've done work with me in Santa Cruz, and, in the Bay Area, but at the same time, all these contractors are kind of minimizing, right? Because everyone is like, oh, no way, man, schoolwork. Oh, no, now DSA and all this other stuff. People are just going, oh, can't do this anymore. And they have a lot to lose solely because when you have a bonding company that has to cover you for the whole entire project, they're putting up all their liquid assets, not their regular assets, their liquid assets. It's based on the bonding capacity. So they have a lot to lose, and we don't want them to go away not doing it right. So when substandard work comes in, we're pointing it out. We're going to get it done right.
Yeah.
So if I hope that makes you feel a little bit better because of what I know and what my expertise are in construction. I did spend a little bit more money, and it's a couple $1,000s for the density, test, for the compaction test. But it's a sure thing for us to know that, okay, at least everything underneath is solid, everything up on top. Some of the problems that they could have done is one, some of the bird baths can be caused by three things: substrate, asphalt, the asphalt paver, which is if you're doing with latent box or with a pro paver, basically, it's the operator who has adjustments on both sides, right? Then again, you have a middle part to it too. So it could undulate, go up and down if they're not careful or they're not an expert at that portion of it. Number three, it could be the roller. There is what they call vibration rolling.
Yeah, no,
static rolling.
I know. I guess my whole thing, and I know you had mentioned, hopefully we feel better. Honestly, I don't feel better until we. I know
about this, so thank you.
Yeah, I know. So, and one of the things, Victor, is like, me personally, I have a lot of confidence in you. I know Superintendent has a lot of confidence in you and stuff. At one of our meetings, you did say they did a great job. The work and the contractor stuff. Like, I was like, wait, did he say that? I had to go back and watch the video, right? So in that case, like, they didn't do a great job, right? So I think
yes.
So I think, like, when that happens, I'd rather you hold off and say, like, you know what, I wasn't happy. I'm not going to say they did a great job, because what happens is when you come to a board meeting, the confidence that we have in you and you tell us, hey, they do a great job, and then later on they don't, it kind of starts deteriorating a little bit. Because now I'm like, because before I'm like, oh no, Victor, he knows the stuff, he's on it. But now I'm like, and it wasn't your fault, but at the same time, if you're saying something is great and then it turns out it isn't, sometimes now I'm like, okay, now I have to be more cautious, not take a, as the word right away. So just something to be mindful of, if it's future projects, because trust me, we have a lot of confidence in you. We're very, very happy with
point well taken. Unfortunately, it looked beautiful the first day before it had any kind of dust, any kind of water, it was black and beautiful. The unfortunate thing, you can't see the deficiencies when it's all black. And no excuse, definitely point well taken. But the deficiencies start coming out after the seasoning starts. So my bad.
Yeah. And everybody I've talked to that does work at schools and everything and stuff, they all said, we wouldn't leave it like that. They said we would cut it out even if we just break even, because we don't want to damage that relationship to walk away from it.
Yeah.
So if this company's done a lot of work with our district, I mean, even I have my own business, and whenever I make a mistake, I rather the client walk away happy with. I made sure that I made it right for them. So hopefully you communicate that with them, is that it's important that you make it right, even if you break even or whatever the case is, because if not, then there's going to be that mistrust on future stuff that kind of happens and stuff.
And when we send out the notes, I mean, basically, maybe you can share that with them and say, hey, he knows or he doesn't know, or this could be a possible solution, because the self-leveling thing I have never done with, and there's even rubberized asphalt now. So, which is a whole new thing in order to save tires and stuff like that, which in San Jose, they did pave a portion of 101 and it's really quiet, but has it stood up to the test of time? So there's some new stuff coming out and new technology. I mean, I haven't really stayed up to that, but if this new self-leveling, it should work.
Yeah, because I've talked to a couple of different contractors who do school projects, and they all pretty much are saying the same thing. Like, they need to cut the spot and redo it again. Like, they say if they do a patch job, that's why I'm saying like we need other options. Is just don't take the patch job because it's
A patch is a patch.
patch is a patch and
And
it's
it
not going to
doesn't look
last. It's not
good.
going to have
Yeah.
warranty. So
Definitely.
I know I kind of dominated the conversation. I don't know if you guys have questions or comments. No? Okay, so I guess we'll wait.
I don't have any comments, but I just want to say, Victor, you've done a great job. I mean, as far as I'm concerned, you've really stepped up in a lot of other areas. And I have a lot of faith in you.
Thank you.
So
Appreciate that.
yes.
Yeah, so we'll kind of hear next steps from legal and kind of know what's going to happen from there. Okay. All right. Thank you. So 10.1, approval of MOU between CSEA Chapter 503 and the Santa Rita Union School District for mandatory annual training modules.
Thank you. This is exactly the same as the MOU that we did with SRTA this year because we had one-time professional development monies to be able to offer this. And because mandated training is becoming more and more extensive with our legal requirements. And so looking for ways to compensate employees who spend time outside of work hours to complete these.
I'm going to motion to approve, but I'm also going to make a comment that since I have to do all of this, I feel for these people.
Mhm.
Can I get a second?
Second.
Okay, roll call, please.
Ms. Turner,
Aye.
Ms. Ariano,
Aye.
Mr. Sandoval.
Aye.
Motion passes 3-0.
Okay, item 10.2, approval of 3 new 6-hour bus driver positions.
Thank you. The district has unsuccessfully attempted to hire some bus driver positions in combination, and we've received feedback from candidates that they don't want the custodial part of that job, or custodians don't want the bus driving part. And so we are requesting 3 new 6-hour bus driver positions to attempt to fill our bus driving needs.
Okay, and I'm completely in favor of this. Are other districts moving? I'm just kind of curious as far as or is everybody still half and half the positions?
It varies.
Okay.
Districts are doing both still.
Both. Okay. I for some reason I had a feeling because I've talked to some people who do custodian and they tell me, oh, I hate the bus driving portion of it or whatever around. So that's good.
And in North County, the bus driver positions are 8 hours, but it's a bigger area and more schools. So
Okay, can I get a motion to approve?
motion to approve.
Second.
Okay, roll call.
Ms. Turner,
Aye.
Ms. Ariano,
Aye.
Mr. Sandoval.
Aye.
Motion passes 3-0.
Okay, approval of new 1 full-time employee for custodian position.
Similarly, unraveling some positions, but our real need is for 1 full-time custodian at Santa Rita. They do have the most adult programs, after school programs supporting our families. And so an additional custodian to support the after school cleanup is going to be huge for them.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah, motion to approve. And when I met with Santa Rita last spring, it was actually the teachers that were like, we think we need more custodial help over here.
Second.
Okay, roll call.
Ms. Turner,
Aye.
Ms. Ariano,
Aye.
Mr. Sandoval.
Aye.
Motion passes 3-0.
Okay, thank you. 10.4, approval of new 2 full-time employees for the health and safety specialists.
Thank you. We currently have 1 health and safety specialist at each middle school. And with current needs, we see that 2 would be beneficial in providing the support that our students need.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Okay, roll call.
Ms. Turner,
Aye.
Ms. Ariano,
Aye.
Mr. Sandoval.
Aye.
Motion passes 3-0.
Okay, 10.5, approval of new 3 full-time employees for behavior aids.
Thank you. The behavior aides that are currently hired are serving students with disabilities. We have a need for additional behavior aides to support students who may qualify for special needs later, but aren't there yet. And we need to see if some behavioral intervention may prevent them from being qualified for services.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Okay, roll call.
Ms. Turner,
Aye.
Ms. Ariano,
Aye.
Mr. Sandoval.
Aye.
Motion passes 3-0.
Okay, 14.1, discuss and recommend MCSBA, it's Monterey County School Board Association, Excellence in Education Awards nominations.
Thank you. It's that time of year again, so we're not ranking yet, but they sent a list of past nominees and past winners for you to see as samples. And then if there are organizations who aren't on that list that we would like to send them to add to that list before we bring it at a future board meeting for you to rank your suggested award winners. It's a chance for you all to discuss that and let me know, and I can send them an email with those additional organizations.
And the one Mr. Bertel mentioned was already on the list, correct?
Yes,
Okay.
that's correct.
Is there any new ones?
The only question that I had in the Friday letter, we talked about that we nominated Central Binacional in the past, but I didn't see them on the list. So if we wanted to bring
Okay.
that forward.
Thank you for catching that.
I'm not sure exactly what the name of that organization is, but it's the child trafficking.
Our local human child trafficking organization. I can look up that name. I'll send it to you to verify that's the one you're
Okay.
thinking of. Yeah. And then I'll add that to the list.
Add to the list. Okay.
Okay, perfect. And those are the only ones then. Okay. 15.1. Our next regular board meeting will be December 13th, 2023. We'll get a nice little break. Any suggested future board items?
I'd asked a while back what was happening with the preschool or MCOE in general. My understanding is that they were what was Little Bear, that ultimately they're going to be offering services in a different way, or pulling back from sort of like the Santa Rita area. But I'm just curious where we are now.
We met with Sonia Jaramillo last week just to verify that we're good with a last student day for them being our last student day, allow for a couple weeks transition, because before we, which it was our plan originally, because we need to demolish those classrooms over the summer, and so that we can start putting in the infrastructure for the new GV rooms. And so she'll be able to, what we're doing is reaching out. We need to let the state know that we're going to stop our contract with at least 90 days. We're going to give them much more than that. So the MCOE can hope to apply to see if that funding can then directly come to them. And so sort of a transition of the funds so that the funds stay local to serve, our Salinas community, and that the staff, they're able to transition to locations within the county as well. And what I know, Ms. Jaramillo is hoping to do with that funding, if she's able to get that, is add some additional rooms over at Hartnell. And so it's staying in and making sure, of course, to work in partnership with us to get families here enrolled at their closest program as well. And then we'll need to help inventory the supplies and the furniture that belong to the program that are housed out here. And we'll do what we can to help them get them to the other organizations that the state would award that those assets to.
So is the one from La Jolla, there's a
Head Start.
Oh,
That's
that's
a Head
Head
Start
Start
program.
So
Yeah.
that's a whole
Yeah.
different, okay.
Yeah.
Good. Okay.
And then this is kind of a facilities committee question, maybe first before the full board, but just if we are imagining that we're going to get another year of TK and kinder like this year, can we house those people next year, or is there stuff that we need to do because the clock is ticking?
We'll have some info at our upcoming facilities meeting on thoughts about what we might be able to do to meet that need for next year.
Okay, perfect. It is 7 p.m. exactly. Can I please get a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Second,
Ms. Turner?
Aye.
Ms. Ariano?
aye.
Mr. Sandoval?
Aye.
Motion passes
Okay,
3-0.
have a nice evening, everyone, and break.